All right, good morning. Welcome to Tuesday, May 10th. Good morning. Good to see you. Today we're going to read Psalm 144, 1 Chronicles 19 and 20, Psalm 20, then Psalm 51. My times through, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles, 1st, 2nd Samuel before, I kind of thought that, felt like 1st Chronicles, 2nd Chronicles kind of retelling, and just some places just a little bit more windy. But it's not the case. It doesn't mention a lot of the same stories. So a couple different angles. So Psalm 144 here is a psalm that's prophetic both of the time of Christ and the tribulation. And so then right about this time we're starting to come up on a couple things that aren't mentioned in 1 Chronicles. The first is about this time David finds Mephibosheth, the grandson of Saul. Joab is victorious over the Ammonites and the Syrians. Then we get to 1 Chronicles chapters 19 and 20. We find the spies being sent out, David having good intentions, the people not believing them. I'd probably have a hard time believing them as well. How do you know when to trust these people, when not to? Cut their beards and their garments. David made them stay in Jericho until their beards grew back. In chapter 20, the Ammonites and the Philistines. And then we come to Psalm chapter 20, talking a little bit there about the grace of God. Knowing what's coming up, that's probably what's needed here. All right, so what happens right now that isn't mentioned in 1 Chronicles, so David, at this point now, sins with Bathsheba, has Uriah killed, and Nathan calls him down for it. Then we find Nathan's repentance, and then we see Psalm 51. When you read Psalm 51, what you find is a repentant heart in David that is more heartbroken because of what he's done to God and God's feeling about it than the consequences of a sin. Now he's going to face grave consequences for what just happened. But again, remember, 1 Chronicles doesn't talk about it. But we're getting into Psalm 51, so we need to cover that. In verse 10, there's one that maybe we should think about memorizing. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Also our theme for this year. And then you look at verse 13 again. Don't assume that evangelism started with the New Testament church. The Israelites were witnessing. Noah was a preacher of righteousness. All right, so the next couple Psalms that we read are going to be covering this topic, and then when we get to a little bit further on 1 Chronicles, then we're going to start seeing some of the newer kings where we read about, and then how the prophets fit in. All right, I hope you have a good Tuesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.